Hey everybody, welcome back to Yankton, South Dakota, USA, host of the Junior World Championships, and we're going to have an awesome match here with Team USA in the junior men's versus Chinese Taipei. And the weather continues to, I guess, lift, if you want to call it that. The wind is just becoming more consistent. Start out with the 10 from Team USA, 9 for Taipei, and I've got a special guest here. She didn't jump in and announce who she was this time, so.
I'm Bridie Pittman from Great Britain.
And it rhymes. So that I didn't recognize that the first few times. So, all right. What's your prediction here?
I don't know, based on practice, it could go either way. Both the USA and Chinese Taipei had some really good ends, and they both had some not so good ones. So, yeah, even now it's
tied
like
up.
It's tied, yeah.
Yep,
so.
It's tied up. Got 28-28 until, see what we got there. That's going to hang the tent. There we go.
Could end up with a match with a shoot-off.
Possibly. It's nothing better than a shoot-off, I believe. It's always good for the crowd. There's a few 100,000 here in attendance this week, and I slightly exaggerated that. It's been miserable for weather the last 2 days, so the crowds have been a little bit thin, but they're definitely starting to show up here, and got a pretty good match right now. We don't have live scoreboards on the actual field in front of the archers, but right now we're sitting at a 57 unofficially for Chinese Taipei, and we've got a 58 unofficially here for USA. So the red, white, and blue pulled off that first end. So the way this is going to work, for those of you new to World Archery tuning in, these guys are shooting at 70 meters, so approximately 77 yards for anyone still using the U.S. conversion. And they're scoring. You can see there the scoring rings, actually. You've got a 10, 9, 8, all the way down to a 0, which you don't want. And each of the team shooters get to shoot 2 arrows. They shoot in a sequence. They actually have to let one archer shoot his arrow and then clear the line before you're allowed to step up. They do have a timer. So each guy shoots 2, and then 60 points possible. So you can see here we've got a 58 to 57, and the way the matches work is if you win that particular end, then you'll get 2 points. If both teams tie, each will get 1 point, and obviously the loser gets the circle, right?
Yep.
Not a good feeling to get that big goose egg. So this weekend, or this week, if you could change one thing about what you did, what would it be? You got eliminated yesterday. Not to put you on the spot.
Not get eliminated. I think there was a couple of mistakes I made in qualification. Just a couple of arrows I wasn't focused enough, and that cost me about 10 points total, which would have put me up quite a lot in qualification, which then obviously I'd have had a bit of an easier match in my first elimination. So I think just making myself a bit more focused before each arrow and refocusing after every arrow rather than just rushing it a little bit.
And taking that through the whole match. It's really cool that World Archery has moved into a format that allows the top 8 qualification ranked archers to actually get those buys and not have to shoot in those early rounds, because it puts a lot more emphasis on needing to shoot good during qualification.
Yeah.
And I think what's important for any archer out there that's watching and wanting to grow in the sport. One thing that I know that took me a while to figure out, but finally a coach actually drove it into my head, and it really changed how I performed as an archer, is learning to let those small mistakes during your qualification rounds, learning to let them go.
Yeah.
And that same thing applies here. You know, if you have a bad arrow, you really can't, you have no control of the arrows that are already in the target.
Yeah,
it's
that's
history.
already done.
Yeah, the only thing you have control on is the ones that are still in your quiver. And a lot of times, as long as you continue to plug away and not kind of let something that was negative in the past affect you too much in the future, you're going to give yourself an opportunity to let someone else maybe have that slump towards the end of the match, and then you're going to be in a much better position during the raking round. We started out here with saw a 10 from USA, and then 9-9 here from Taipei, and then here we've got an 8, so we're tied up already in the second end. So what color bow are you shooting? You see a purple here. That's my personal color too.
I've got a silver one and a teal one.
Awesome. The new silver?
Yeah.
I actually have that one as well. I do kind of favor my purple people eater, but I do have the silver as well, and it's kind of a cool part about target archery. Great shooting there, super solid, potentially 2 X's. It's always good to have a teammate step up and pound 2 in the middle like that. Take a look here. He's been shooting really well. Just a little bit out to the right. The wind is really starting to just kind of stay consistent, coming at the archers from about 1 o'clock. Slight headwind, slight crosswind, but it is fairly consistent. Nice. A little bit low. Okay, so here's a question for you, another off-the-wall question. Being from England, if you had one to pick, would it be fish and chips or Indian food?
Fish and chips.
That's awesome. I was surprised when I was over there that fish and chips was not the #1 food in England.
Oh, isn't it?
No.
Oh,
When I was
knew
over
that.
there, I was watching the morning news, and they were surprised to see that I think it was like, forgot which one it was. It was some curry was like the #1 food, which I can see how that'd be possible too, because it is delicious.
Yeah, it's very good.
When I go to England, I always make sure to visit some old friends, and we head into a good Indian restaurant, and I sweat to death on some chilies. So, okay, you look here at after that second end, we've got 55, 54, Team USA again, so that's going to give them 4 points. So you only need to make it to 5 to get through your team round. So a tie will still take this team round for Team USA. Obviously, the win will just completely seal the deal. Otherwise, a loss is going to at least give Taipei a slight glimpse of hope. It's never good to have a 0-4, you know. It's not the best way to start, but I've certainly seen some big comebacks too. There's been a few matches here that you walk away from them thinking, well, they're over because you've got a 4-0 score, and then all of a sudden you look down there and they're still shooting like 2 ends later, and you're like, what in the world happened? Then you see that a good comeback happened. So that is what's nice about this format and this scoring is, you know, if you have a really bad end of scoring, you're not digging yourself such a hole for points. You know, when it comes to, you know, say one archer shot a 9 and one shot a 1, you know, if you get a loss there, you know, you get the 2 points that the other team has, and not, you know, not 7 points in total score. So
Yeah.
you can still come back even if you have a terrible 2 or 3 arrows, you can still come back and win a match.
Yeah, well, it's definitely possible in this match because both sets so far, the Chinese Taipei have only lost by a point.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
all it takes is one arrow from the USA not in the 10, and
Yeah, and you
opens
can
up
hear the
door
wind
for
just decided to pick up again. So
yeah.
As much as archers tend to, not prefer shooting in the wind, it is part of the game. It's part of the sport, and you have to be able to make sure you keep it together, especially now when it matters most. Got a slight delay here, vehicle behind the target. Could hear Team Korea getting excited here. They're just a little bit to our right. You can actually see them down there, I think, at least on one of our screens. What I love about the team rounds is every single time there's a team eliminated, the competition just gets better and better, and you start getting these teams that they're starting to really get more worked up. They're starting to get more excited, and obviously their teammates and their country members behind them are getting more and more excited, and there's a lot more on the line. So I think you're going to hear a lot more of that in the background each and every end that we go from here on out today. He's been shooting really well. Possibly, I think that's only his second 9 during the team round. So we're up by a point here right now for Team USA. Trying to block the wind here on my mic. Sorry, everybody at home. That was a great shot. That would have been a sweet arrow to see in slow motion when it hits and it's wobbling all around right in the dead center of the 10. That's kind of the ideal sight picture for any archer, to be able to see that arrow go down there and do that. Got a 9 slightly high, 9 slightly right. So sometimes we always have mics there by the shooters, so sometimes you can hear the coaches or the spotters calling arrows out. And so if you hear them say 9 at 4 o'clock, what they're referring to is they're kind of telling the archers that can't see that far down the range, because it is 70 meters down there. They're just letting them know that they missed just outside of the 10 in the 9 ring at the, if you think of it as a clock at the 4 o'clock. So it kind of gives you just a little bit of an idea, especially for the archers that are making slight adjustments to their sights, trying to hone in for what the conditions are doing right now. There we go, we got an 8. So the unofficial score right here is 55 USA, 52 for Chinese Taipei. So this looks like a 6-0.
Yep. Fastest you can win a match.
That's as fast as it goes down right there. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and be sure to keep coming back, because these matches are going to just get better and better and better. So thank you so much again for bringing some pretty cool information. Told us the color of your bow.
Thank you.
And you're still with the fish and chips. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We're from Yankton, South Dakota, the Junior World Championships here with World Archery.